Hi, it's Colin from Wytch Hazel here. Have a great 2021. You're watching Belgian Jasper.
Hey everyone, I'm Belgian Jasper. If you're watching the channel for the first time, hit subscribe right now. Melodic heavy metal band, or call it adventure rock, Wichch Hazel did something that I thought was not possible. They released a new album that is even better than their previous album. To talk about the new album and also a brand new Christmas single that they just released and all the plans that this band has, I sat down with band leader, singer, guitar player Colin.
We were together in that place, then a sound came from the heavens. See the look upon my face.
Colin, thank you so much for your time this afternoon for you. I really appreciate that. The new album is out. It's already getting a lot of positive reactions, like your previous album. You must be pretty excited.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're perhaps different than maybe other artists that are saying that it's difficult because this has been our best release so far, you know, which is obviously unusual because other people are struggling, other people are not able to tour, which is kind of essential for a lot of particularly bigger artists. But yeah, we're pretty happy, you know. We've got yeah, as you said, lots of good feedback, and it's just really nice to see so much positivity because that's kind of what we're all about. We're all about that, and the thing is, one of the really nice things that I've seen is the number of people have said that the music has really helped them during this time. So I think, you know, for a multitude of reasons, I'm just more than happy that we've taken the decision just to release anyway. I think it's just been a really good idea. So yeah, and then obviously the album sales, that's also well. So for us, from our perspective, it's been quite a positive experience.
The album is called Pentecost, which is a Christian celebration that usually takes place in the spring. So was it meant to be released around that time and was it pushed out, or is that title not significant in that way?
Yeah, it's not significant in that context. I mean, I'm not one of those Christians who kind of knows exactly. I mean, you know, I couldn't have told you that Pentecost happens in spring.
Really?
I'm not really. I don't think God bothered about whether I know, you know, the church calendar in my head or not. Pentecost is significant for me more in terms of the original event of Pentecost. Obviously, the festival is it's celebrated in the church calendar, but I suppose I'm not kind of religious in that way, I suppose. So it's more the context of Pentecost, and it's to do with specifically the Holy Spirit, specifically when talking about battles, when I'm talking about fighting, when I'm talking about being victorious or losing the battle, it's all within the context of spirituality. And Pentecost kind of brings that together because it's basically in the story of the book of Acts in the Bible that people were filled with the Holy Spirit and then kind of sent out. That's very specifically that happened, and then other things happened afterwards. So it's to do with the whole battles being a spiritual battle rather than it being something kind of off Lord of the Rings or something like that. So yeah, it's more there's the original context, and the song Spirit and Fire kind of brings that into focus the most. I think that's kind of probably the best explanation of Pentecost. It's specifically about that event, and so yeah, it's not as much to do with the church calendar and more to do with kind of spiritual battles.
One could very easily describe Wytch Hazel as a spiritual or Christian metal band. You're quite militant in your lyrics when it comes to that, not just in this album, but in all the albums. If I'm not mistaken, you're the you're the only original member of the first lineup. So does that mean that the new people that come into the band, do they all come with with the same philosophy, same mindset, or is that something that is not a requirement whatsoever? What does that look like in the band?
Yeah, I think if you kind of go back a little bit, I'm the only original member. And I suppose you go back to why I started the band in the first place, because a lot of people would kind of, like, quite rightly, like you said, listen to Wytch Hazel and say maybe they're a Christian metal band, and I don't really even disagree, because people have different perspectives on what they want to call a band. I don't really mind what they call a band, as long as they're enjoying it. It doesn't really matter too much to me whether you call it Christian or not. I didn't set out the band to start a Christian band, though. That's kind of quite important. The context I started the band was I wanted to start a band. That was it. It was a heavy metal band. It was really as simple as that. It was myself and one other guitarist. Josh was our guitarist originally, and we just started the band because we wanted to start a heavy metal band, and there's literally no other impetus. I didn't think maybe I need to start like I think what do you call it, like a missionary thing or something.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's the difference is that I'm a Christian who started a band rather than someone who started a Christian metal band. In terms of new members, I've just wanted people who can play their instruments. It's people who've enjoyed. So there's no requirement at all with Wytch Hazel that someone has to have a certain mindset. I mean, I think probably politically would probably be more of a problem than whether someone believed in God or not, to be honest, with Wytch Hazel. So I think that kind of affects the kind of the way there's more practical things there. So and kind of in terms of getting on with people, I think you tend to get on with people that are a bit like you. So if there's someone who likes rock music, then you're going to get on with them you have similar views. But in terms of like faith, it's just one of those things where if someone doesn't believe it, then it doesn't really matter in some ways what I believe, because if they don't believe it anyway, if I have a view about something in the Bible, if they don't believe the Bible has any relevance, then it doesn't matter anyway. So it doesn't actually affect anything in terms of the way the band's run. So there's no requirement from me. Although I suppose if someone were to join the band and then sort of use it as a way of kind of promoting satanic things, or I would be like, well, I don't want you to. But I think that's quite obvious that you don't join Wytch Hazel to kind of use it in a dark way.
Feel the fire burning in the night, laying shadows all around.
I personally am an atheist. I have no belief in any spiritual system, if you will, and I know a lot of friends of mine who are into this kind of music that also share my worldview, if you will, but we all love Wytch Hazel. So for me, it's similar to what you're saying, is I can enjoy your music without feeling that, oh, this is a preacher or what have you. I was wondering though, do you get that kind of pushback?
To be honest, I was expecting, I think as a Christian, you expect, I mean, you only have to look at like the history of Christianity to expect there to be some sort of, criticism. There's quite a lot. There's a lot to be critical of in terms of the church and people's view of Christianity, whether it's they've kind of, whether it's a biased view or not, because I think you can choose to be negative about Christianity and you can choose to be positive about Christianity, and I think it's very easy to focus on the negative. There's so much of it, and a lot in terms of cults, in terms of what we call fundamentalism now. It's kind of like a modern way of kind of just people using religion. But I was expecting with the band there to be a lot of backlash, to be honest. But it was one of those things. I'm not the sort of person that would think maybe I need to do something, maybe I need to tone it down. As you said, you've sort of described the lyrics as kind of like very obviously Christian, and that's kind of just me. I wouldn't really tone anything down. I don't think you need to in this day and age. But at the same time, so people, like you said, people still enjoy it. So we haven't really had much in terms of backlash. And maybe in the future, as things kind of get slightly more popular, maybe there will. But I'm kind of expecting something. But it's quite surprising that there isn't a huge amount of backlash. You know, because the people, I understand why people are critical of Christianity. I get it, you know.
People have asked me to describe your music, and I would almost say it's like troubadour style hard rock, heavy metal, a little dreamy to get lost in. We talked about labels before. Should we just call it heavy metal, or do you understand that people are coming up with like creative labels to kind of single out what you guys are doing?
I mean, I don't think I really care that much, to be honest. I think lots of people, it's, some bands get a bit frustrated, like, stop giving us a genre, stop kind of, and I don't really mind. And then in the same way, people say, oh, you sound like this band, and I just take it as a compliment. And if anyone says that we even remotely sound like Thin Lizzy, I mean, that's a huge compliment to me. You know, these are bands. It doesn't surprise me in some ways, because I love these bands like Jethro Tull, Wishbone, Thin Lizzy. I listen to them all the time. I don't get bored of those bands. I can't see myself ever getting bored of those bands.
It's no surprise that people call out Wishbone Ash as a clear influence. I mean, beyond the music, I'm sure that more than one person told you that the cover art of Sojourn, the last album, is surprisingly similar to Argus of Wishbone Ash. There's clear influences there. The new album, I would say, is maybe a little more varied, a little bit more balanced than the previous albums. And when you say Thin Lizzy, I definitely agree. I think specifically in I Will Not, I think that there is a Thin Lizzy vibe in the background there. Beyond Wishbone Ash and Thin Lizzy, you mentioned Jethro Tull as well. Those are the biggest inspirations for this album, then?
You know, I think there's definitely more of a Black Sabbath influence to my ears. And I also think it makes sense, because over the past few years I've been listening to a lot more Black Sabbath. I mean, there was a point when I would listen to the album Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, sort of like every week. It is just a great album. It's really it's one of those, I'm quite into obvious albums. You know, a lot of people kind of like, well, why are you not listening to something a bit more obscure or unique or different, or listening to something that no one's heard of? But there's a reason why those albums are classic and obvious, like Argus or Led Zeppelin 1 or Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath or Rainbow Rising. It's just, there's a reason why they're classics and obvious albums, go-to albums. And I really don't get bored of them, because they're just classics. And I just regularly listen to these albums, hoping to capture some of that. The Wytch Hazel, really, that's kind of what I like to do. I mean, I have quite a lot of affinity to bands that are like heavy metal bands, like old school heavy metal bands. So, for example, I will always support our friends in Seven Sisters. Kind of one of the best, really, in the UK. Like it's, I really want the best for that band. And yeah, so it's the heavy metal bands that I'm kind of mainly focusing on. They're kind of the bands that we play with and we kind of play shows with. But it is quite interesting, particularly. I mean, I saw Class describing themselves as adventure rock, and I'd never even heard that as a genre or a label before I saw it, and I thought that's quite interesting, actually. You know, I think there's a, and I think I listened to Ashbury, and I think there's definitely an element of adventure rock there. Although we're kind of slightly different. People expect the type of music to be like that. But obviously, I'm writing primarily Bible-based lyrics. But it doesn't mean it can't be in the same ballpark. I think that's great. So yeah, adventure rock is a great label. I like that.
Very good.
Why should that demon have all the glory? He was only an angel at the start of the story.
Well, this is an exclusive, but this is being aired next week, so everyone will know about it by next week. But tomorrow, if everything goes well, tomorrow we're releasing a Christmas single.
Oh, really?
Cool, which we've not done before. So we're releasing a new song tomorrow. So it's a version of Old Lang Syne.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and old Lang Syne?
So we're doing a version of Old Lang. It was a very different version. It's quite a dark version of Old Lang Syne. It's kind of, because I think considering the year that we've all had, Old Lang Syne almost seems a bit inappropriate of a song to sing the new year, because it's been quite a dark year, and we don't know what next year is going to look like. So artistically, that was kind of what I was going for when I wrote. I rearranged the song, I rewrote the melody and things like that. It makes sense when you hear it. So that's been hopefully released tomorrow, if everything goes to plan. So that's quite exciting. And it's a charity single. So what we're doing is we're releasing it and raising money for the homeless. So all the money goes to the homeless. And it's we're just trying to raise as much as possible. There's a charity they're called West End Impact, and they're buildings where we have our band rehearsals, and they use that building for just all sorts of different things. They just do great stuff for the local community, and they work with the food bank, and they do food parcels, and they help people with in debt and addicts, and they just do loads of different things, and they're just amazing. So we decided that all the money is going to go to them. I think one of the best things about Christmas is the Christmas music, but traditional Christmas music and kind of folk Christmas music, and actually kind of carols that have Bible content and carols that have meaning that I resonate with as a Christian. So for me, it's actually a very serious and genuine time. So I do like with the band it's a bit of fun, and particularly the way we use social media and things like that. I think it's an opportunity to be lighthearted and to not take ourselves too seriously. And I think when the band are together, it's just about having fun. It's just like four mates, and we're just making fun of each other and having a laugh. And I think I do like that aspect, and sometimes that's good to do that at Christmas and to kind of think be positive. But when it comes to writing music, I'm quite serious about it. It's quite the music's serious, but I think being in a band, a rock band, is an opportunity to be a bit like Spinal Tap. So it's these two things that kind of are quite contrasting.
Yeah.
The music's serious, but being in a band is
Strength is of thee, and thy mighty hand you hold me. You will be stronger to fight when I bleed against flesh and blood.
Colin, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, great album. I thought it. To be honest, I thought it was going to be hard for you guys to beat Sojourn because I think that's a phenomenal album. But Pentecost is an amazing third album. So congratulations and thank you so much for your time, Colin. Have a great rest of the day.
Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.